Hi, this is Jen Held, and I'm presenting today on how healthcare organizations might apply Kotter's 8-step change management model and the switch framework to change organizational culture to better meet the healthcare needs of minority and community members. When looking at this, the only thing I could think of that could help everybody is access to primary care providers. From working in healthcare and with minorities and several community members through corrections and through just in the community itself. I've noticed that access to primary care, I ask people who their primary care providers are, and I either get a stunned look on their face or I don't have one. So I think it's great that everybody should be able to have access to primary care. The switch framework can apply to a large-scale change that we need in healthcare. This framework can also be complemented by John P. Kotter's 8 Steps to Change. These 8 steps are often done in a sequence where one can reinforce the other. So it's not that the switch is wrong or the switch is better, but they just work better when they're together. Together, these two methods can help change take place in the healthcare facilities or healthcare area by addressing many different avenues required for change to be successful. I would like to use minorities and community members seen by primary healthcare providers in the past year. Like I said previously, I know from working in the community, unfortunately, community members don't have access to primary care. And unfortunately, minorities don't have are also suffering. This first step that we'd look through for adding both of these together is to create or establish a sense of urgency. What's giving them the motivation to change? What's going to get my team members to actually want to change? This would be like discussing all the different and terrible things that could happen to patients who don't have access to primary care. I'd say give it a positive spin, but we all know that a positive spin usually doesn't help to motivate and establish a sense of urgency. I would talk about complications of unmanaged chronic diseases, such as diabetes, hypertension, congested heart failure. I'd also talk about my favorite thing to say about an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. So getting that prevention from the primary care would be something we would want to do. We could talk about how being cured often has side effects, but prevention often doesn't have any side effects, and it actually can help prevent side effects from having to be cured. According to the videos, we did watch all those videos. We need to make this personal, so the team will be invested in the project or in the change. We need to make it personal by talking about how this could be their family member suffering from. An example would be unassessed hypertension. Hypertension doesn't have any symptoms, often referred to as the silent killer. Like I said, this would help to address a sense of urgency by discussing how we could prevent the lack of primary care from occurring, and if they believe everybody has the basic right to primary care. Step 2 would be building a guided coalition by addressing the rider on the elephant syndrome or part here. Kotter describes the process as creating a guiding coalition. A good example of this is called a steering committee. It kind of takes a little bit of everybody from, and I've done it before in our facilities, it's been a housekeeper, a maintenance staff, research staff, a nurse, a nursing assistant, everybody from the different groups that helps to bring that change to life. So we already have the sense of urgency. Now we got to figure out how to get that change going. This includes giving exact information to the guide, the rider, or the person making the change so that they know which way to follow for success. This provides the rider with a clear step-by-step path so they are not left to wander on their own. From the example of the videos, I'm going to say this wrong, ambiguity, sorry. In this part of the process is not a positive response, and it can often lead to self-doubt. An example is when the elephant is being guided, and they're getting confused about where to go, and they're all making their own decisions. The elephant can actually go around in circles because they're just confused. They're not sure what the next step is. This is where we need to step in and guide them. we be guiding the elephant in a way that will keep them on the right task and moving forward. We must be able to direct the rider by telling the rider what they need to do, so they're not wondering and second guessing themselves. Success needs to be planned, and we want to make sure we are giving them enough information and resources to be successful. The steering committee will help keep them on track. The one example from the video was you're told to start going to the gym more. You go to the gym, you're not quite sure what to do, so you work out a little on the treadmill, you get on the bike a little, and you're kind of confused on what to do. However, if you have a coach who's telling you, you go to the gym, you put the treadmill on this incline, this specific settings for 15 minutes, then you go to the weightlifting for this long, then you do this, the bike, people are more inclined to actually participate in that because they're not wondering what. They are being told exactly what to go. They're not being told every little thing like how to dress or anything, but just the main facts. Step 3 is forming a strategic vision that has incentives and developing a vision and strategy. So like I said, the next step is, now that we know we need to get basic track, we need to form a strategic vision and get them going. This is when you show the team how we can improve and the benefits of this improvement. This would be like a minority patient being able to have help with their diabetes. That sometimes people didn't even know they're diabetic. They just know that sometimes they have a hard time and have the symptoms of hyperglycemia. This is most likely not going to be a cash incentive. You're supposed to be getting incentives, sometimes cash incentives, but probably not in this situation. But instead an incentive to see a benefit in more lives and even a thank you from the patients. I think that right there would help develop incentives more than any cash would at this point anyways. This will help keep them on track, and this might actually help them strive harder to get to the goal. Step 4, you're going to, one of them says to enlist a volunteer party to engage in a broad-based action. Get that elephant moving, communication with the change in vision. We need to eliminate ambiguity at this point, so people know where they're supposed to go. We need a straight track. Sorry about that. They may try to pull back the reins a little, like, we're not so motivated to do things. This is when we got to refocus, bring those elephants around and get them straight again. Because you're going to have a couple that go off the rails a little and get a little confused. Bring them back in of the vision and completed strategies that we discussed previously. Like I said, kind of like bringing those elephants right back home to roost and straightforward. Step 5, we're going to enable the actions by removing barriers. We know these barriers are going to pop up. With everything in life, barriers pop up. We need to empower employees or our team members for broad-based action, just overall action, what we need to do to get over these barriers. Address the barriers. Don't put them under the rug or do anything and say, we'll get to it later. No, address them head on. Know that these barriers are coming. Tell your team what to expect when these barriers come up, like lack of insurance. What do we do? Well, maybe there's a free clinic there, or they can do a spend down, or they might have different things, or they need to apply for Medicaid or Medicare, depending on the population we're addressing here. Like I said, keep the path to change clear. You're going to have these obstacles in the road. Nope, keep it clear. You need to get everybody on that vision. That elephant from Cotter there, not Cotter, I'm sorry, the other one. I read so much of this there. But anyways, we focus also on the elephant there, the switch. Sorry. I'm sorry. The elephant represents the emotional self. We need to avoid spooking that elephant. We need to keep that elephant right there. Remember, they're envisioned with us. That we got them emotionally involved. The elephant represents the emotional self. We need to avoid spooking them. So we need to provide the staff with their vision. They need to buy into our vision, so they feel confident in making changes themselves. So instead of one person leading the pack and everybody else dragging behind and we're pulling them, no, we're all going to be equal and keep pushing Because the goal is for all the staff to be able to have all the benefits and access to primary care so they can see the vision themselves, not just the leader's vision. It's got to be across. Step 6, generate some short-term wins. For example, this whole family has benefits. Like I said, let's just say these 10 households here have primary care now. They've been seen by their primary care. They've had they've had healthcare concerns. They've been addressed. That's a short-term win for us. If the team can improve health in in the minority, they could collaborate that win. No matter how little it is, you got to keep them focused and motivated. This will help keep the motivation and then keep the change going. And eventually they're going to start to see these goals, and it's just going to keep going to the next family, to the next family. This positive reinforcement will help with keeping the team working forward. They might want to start, by step 6, they're going to start to relax a little, and a couple might give up. You need to be able to bring them in again, or even have another family member that we weren't specifically going after in the community. Not going after, I'm sorry, that was the wrong phrase. Maybe somebody talking to somebody else and referring them in the community themselves, saying, you know what, I have these friends or family members who are minority, and I'm going to bring them into the system. And I also if they're not our team members, just word of mouth. That covers most of everything. Word of mouth is better than anything the leader can do. To try to encourage things. Like I said, that word of mouth is just, once one person buys into it, it spreads like wildfire. It is amazing. All right, so step 7, we're going to sustain acceleration and consolidate the gains and produce more changes. This suggests that we need to consolidate the gains. So we need to talk about, this family, we've all helped, let's just say 15 families. I know it's kind of downsizing a little, but let's say 15 families were helped. We need to consolidate. Yep, I helped 5 families. I helped 5 families. I helped 5 families of different people on our team. 15 families all together. And we'll say in this short amount of time, we have helped 15 families improve their life. We can do more though, and help them to get more. So out of these 15, maybe these 15 families, maybe we go to 30 next, in 2 weeks. We've already been successful. We're not restarting from the beginning. We know what we're doing. Use this to kind of fuel and keep the plan moving for more change. Keep them talking. Keep talking about primary care in the community, with the minorities. Make it a daily conversation when you're talking amongst yourselves. Hey, what are you doing to help here? Hey, I've seen this benefit. If you don't talk about it, there's a good chance, unfortunately, it could fall off the rails at step 7. Let's just say, yeah, we did 15 people. Yeah, maybe 30, 15 families. Yeah, maybe 30. And we were good. We're going to step back. No, we got to keep talking about it. Keep it going here. The next is we're going to institute and anchor a change in culture. Systems and successes. Keep on that path. So not only are we going to make this a change, we're going to make this change stick. The Institute, like I said, we're going to anchor. This is going to be part of our new thing. This is going to make that change stick. We need to anchor the new approaches in the culture. Make these changes permanent, so we can continue to show improvement after these changes are done. So maybe not everybody, maybe the next thing is everybody does have access to primary care. Perfect. Everybody in this neighborhood and the community, including the minorities, has access to primary care. We can make that a routine part of healthcare for all community members. So when different members are joining the community, we say in this community, we all have access to primary healthcare, and we move on. Well, so let's say it's been a year and they're kind of seeing or slacking off, or several people are hitting their 40s, or several people are hitting different landmarks where they should be getting preventative care from their primary care, and they're not doing it. So then we would add primary care access is our basic, but now we also want to focus on, because that's an anchor, we also want to focus on preventative health care, and we can go from there. But we need to anchor that change in. That change is now there. It's like an anchor. It's in that sand. That's part of our basic care now. And then we can grow from there. Thank you for listening. Sorry I rambled on a little bit, but honestly, I really like this topic, and I think changes can happen But like I said, I think it is very important that you follow all 8 steps. Maybe not exactly all 8, you can combine a couple, but in order to have success. Thank you for listening.